How do I prepend to a short Python list? List.append appends to the end of a list. This explains that list.prepend does not exist due to performance concerns for large lists. For a short list, how do I prepend a value?
The s.insert 0x form is the most common. Whenever you see it though, it may be time to consider using a collections.dek instead of a list. Prepending to a deck runs in constant time. Prepending to a list runs in linear time. This creates a new list with X prepended to it, rather than modifying an existing list.
What's the idiomatic syntax for prepending to a short Python list? You don't usually want to repetitively prepend to a list in Python. If the list is short, and you're not doing it a lot, then okay. List.insert. The list.insert can be used this way. But this is inefficient, because in Python, a list is an array of pointers, and Python must now take every pointer in the list and move it down by one to insert the pointer to your object in the first slot, so this is really only efficient for rather short lists, as you ask. Here's a snippet from the Python source where this is implemented, and as you can see, we start at the end of the array and move everything down by one for every insertion. If you want a container/list that's efficient at prepending elements, you want a linked list. Python has a doubly linked list, which can insert at the beginning and end quickly. It's called a deck. Deck.append left. A collections.deck has many of the methods of a list. List.sort is an exception, making deck definitively not entirely Liskov substitutable for list. The deck also has an append left method, as well as pop left. The deck is a double-ended queue and a doubly linked list. No matter the length, it always takes the same amount of time to prepend something. In Big O notation, O1 versus the ON time for lists. Here's the usage. Deck.extendLft. Also relevant is the deck's extendLft method, which iteratively prepends. Note that each element will be prepended one at a time, thus effectively reversing their order. Performance of list versus deck. First we set up with some iterative prepending. And a function for analysis, so that we can fairly compare all operations across a range of usages. And performance, adjusting the number of runs per trial down to compensate for longer running times of more prepends. Repeat does 3 trials by default. The deck is much faster. As the lists get longer, decks perform even better. If you can use decks extended, you'll probably get the best performance that way. If you must use lists, keep in mind that for small lists, list.insert works faster, but for larger lists, inserting using slice notation becomes faster. Don't prepend to lists. Lists were meant to be appended to, not prepended to. If you have a situation where this kind of prepending is hurting the performance of your code, either switch to a deck or, if you can reverse your semantics and accomplish the same goal, reverse your list and append instead. In general, avoid prepending to the built-in Python list object.
If someone finds this question like me, here are my performance tests of proposed methods. As you can see, insert and slice assignment are almost twice as fast than explicit adding and are very close in results. As Raymond Hettinger noted, insert is more common option and I, personally prefer this way to prepend to list.